and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Moment of silence, please.
Thank you.
Alderman Ottawa.
Here.
Alderwoman Calderon. Here. Alderman Fire.
Here.
Alderwoman Fliss.
Here,
Alderman Damon.
Here.
And Alderman Brickner asked to be excused. The meeting has been properly posted and noticed.
Public hearing, change of zoning, 4005 South Pennsylvania Avenue.
Notice is hereby given that the Common Council of the City of St. Francis will hold a public hearing in the council chambers, St. Francis Civic Center, 3400 East Howard Avenue, St. Francis, Wisconsin, on Tuesday, September 7th, 2021, at 7 p.m. regarding the request for change of zoning from M2 to M2 Special Use Contractor's Yard and Shop. The legal description involved in the proposed zoning change is as follows. The address is 4005 South Pennsylvania Avenue, tax key number 583-8992-000. Any person interested may be heard at the time of the public hearing.
I'll be asking 3 times. Is there anyone that likes to come up and talk about this? Absolutely, sir. Can you come up to the desk here? And then just state your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Patrick Connerton Jr. in 4300 South Pennsylvania. Bob would be here today, but his dad just passed away from COVID. So, wish I had better news. We got all the cars out of there. Really looking to move forward with, paving and the permit to cut the apron for the entrance and fixing the fence. So that all comes with you guys now. So, really, that's all it is. So.
Understood. Thank you. Anyone got a question? Thank you. Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard? Is there anyone else that'd like to be heard for this public hearing? With that, the public hearing is closed. Thank you. Presentation, proclamation for Sergeant Michael Scott. Front and center, please. Proclamation of accommodation for service to the city of St. Francis conferred on Sergeant Michael Scott. Whereas Sergeant Michael Scott was dispatched after a 9/11 call reporting an industrial accident at Wixon, 1450 East Boulevard Avenue, in which an employee severed his entire arm off, and where Sergeant Michael Scott took immediate action to mitigate blood loss by applying a tourniquet within 90 seconds of the time he was dispatched there. And where Sergeant Michael Scott exemplified quick and decisive decision, making his actions ultimately saved a life. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Ken Tutai, the powers vested in me, and on behalf of all the citizens living in the city of St. Francis, do hereby call upon all the citizens of the city of St. Francis to join me in highly commending Sergeant Michael Scott for his professionalism, intellect, teamwork, and composure. Be it further resolved that sincere gratitude is hereby tendered to Sergeant Michael Scott for his dependable and immediate response to this emergency. Congratulations.
Presentation, 2020 City of St. Francis Audit, Wendy Unger of Baker Tilly. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. Everyone should have in front of them a few-page handout. I'll use that to go through the documents that you should have received in your packets, both the audited statements and the reporting and insights document. I will go through this at a very high level. Please feel free to ask any questions if you should have them. Also, feel free to reach out to either Ann or Mark to obtain my contact information. Happy to talk through any of this in more detail. But turning over to the presentation that I put together, the first page talks about the audit results. The financial statements that were audited are all the governmental funds of the city, along with your business type activities, which would be your sewer and stormwater utilities. Included in your audited statements are the various major funds. Major funds is purely an accounting term, so it just is really what proportion they are of the operations. So included in your financial statements are the general fund, the various TID, capital project funds, your debt service fund, also your sewer and stormwater funds, as I mentioned earlier. And then there's a section where I note aggregate remaining fund information. Those are what are referred to as non-major funds. Those are found in the very back of your audited statements. That's your recycling fund, your garbage fund, your various library funds, and then also your police community relations fund. The opinion that we've rendered on the financial statements for the city is a clean, unmodified opinion, highest level of assurance that you can obtain from us as your auditors. That clean opinion means that the financial statements are believed to be materially accurate. All disclosures that are required to be included within the financial statements have been, that we followed generally accepted accounting principles, and that accounting principles have been consistently applied from year to year. So again, very positive end result and a clean opinion. One item before we switch just quickly to the financial information, the management's discussion and analysis is a section of the report that immediately follows the opinion. So a couple pages in, that's a narrative. It provides a very high-level summary of the operations of the city for the year. Encourage you to take a look at that. If nothing else, it's, again, very much like a Cliff Note version of what happened. Moving on to the fund financial statement summary that I put together. Lots of columns on this page, but again, just going to touch on a few high points. I will give you some page references because a lot of this information, or all of this information, is in your audited statements with much more detail. The very first column there is your general fund. This is your day-to-day operating fund. That can be found on page 52 in your audited statements. 8.9, almost $9 million of revenue, $8.6 million of expenditures, positive addition to fund balance for 2020 of $351,000. To put that in perspective, when the city put together their 2020 budget, you budgeted to break even. So you budgeted to add nothing to fund balance and ultimately had a very positive end result of the $351,000. The main cause for that addition, expenditures were very close to budget. Ultimately a break-even year when you look at the various functions. But within your revenue categories, your intergovernmental revenue categories, you had received some routes to recovery money through the CARES program. That added roughly $140,000 to revenue. You had received some additional CDBG money, so that was $80,000 more than what you had anticipated. And then there were some reimbursement of city service costs from Bear Development, and that was another $194,000 of additional revenue. So again, those contributing factors added $351,000 to your general fund, had almost $5.6 million of fund balance as of the end of the year. You'll note that a significant portion of that is non-spendable, $3.8 million of that. The reason that's labeled as non-spendable is you have the advance from the city general fund to the TID 3, and you also have a receivable from TID 5 just because of the negative fund balance that exists within those funds. So a good portion of that is those items. As those items are repaid or positive increment comes within TID 5, that number will go down. That money will then shift out of non-spendable and into your unassigned category, which is really your working capital contingency type activity. The assigned portion has various components, that's 761,000. Those are items that have been assigned by management, can be unassigned at any point in time, does not require any type of action. The largest pieces of that is related to future health insurance costs, OPEB costs, sick leave type transactions. So those are monies earmarked for that. The $971,000 of unassigned fund balance, that's your working capital, your contingency, that represents roughly 11% of your operating budget. Again, a good position within your general fund as of the end of the year. The next column is your debt service fund. You levy a tax, you pay principal and interest on city debt. This is exclusive of TIF debt. All the TIF activity runs through the respective TIF funds, so this is just debt for city purposes. Used a little bit of fund balance during the year, roughly 50,000, and had 454,000 of fund balance as of the end of the year. All that money is restricted, can only be used for debt service purposes until the debt of the city is paid in full. Next column is your capital projects fund, $1 million of revenue. Roughly half of that is tax levy. A good portion of that, 350,000, are the various special assessments that exist within the city and the related interest that they earn. Also, there was a reimbursement from Greenfield in that fund for 2020. So those are the revenue pieces. $623,000 of expenditures. A good portion of that is sidewalk projects that were done, but there were various purchases within your fire department, PD, of various capital equipment type items. The capital project fund added 441,000 to fund balance, had 1.3 million as of the end of the year, and as you can see down below, most of that is committed. It's committed for the purpose of that fund. The only way that commitment can be removed is by council action. So those monies have to be used for capital projects. The next three columns are your various TID funds, TID 3, 4, and 5. You can see the various income components. TID 3, most of that is increment, the 368,000. You had 325,000 of expenditures, that's principal and interest on TID-related debt. Added a little bit to fund balance and had a 1.9 million, very close to $2 million deficit, but again, moving in the right direction within that fund. TID 4, 47,000 of revenue. Most of that, in that case, is exempt computer aid that comes in from the state. 341,000 of expenditures. Again, principal and interest on debt. There are some salary and benefit components to that. That fund used 294,000 of fund balance and had 506,000 of fund balance as of the end of the year. TID fund balance, unless in deficit position, is always restricted for the purpose of the TID until the TID closes. Last TID is number 5, 421,000 of revenue, 360 of that is increment. That fund had 4.4 million of expenditures. 3.8 million of that was the monies paid during the year to Bear Development. You also had some work that was done on the FBI building, approximately 250,000, and then a small portion of principal and interest in that fund. So that fund had a decrease in fund balance of 4 million and had a deficit of 1.2 million as of the end of the year. That deficit will move in the positive direction as that increment is now shortly to be collected on an annual basis. The last column that's noted on here is, again, the city's non-major funds. These are found on page 61 of your audited statements in detail. As I mentioned previously, the activity represented here is the recycling fund, your garbage fund, the 3 library funds, and the PD Community Relations Fund. Overall, those funds in total had 1.1 million of revenue, 1.2 million of expenses, used 115,000 of fund balance, and had 634,000 of fund balance as of the end of the year. Just a little bit of perspective, that 634,000, your recycling fund at the end of the year had 240,000 of fund balance. Your garbage fund had 69,000 of fund balance. The library collectively with the 3 funds combined, $265,000 of fund balance, and then the police department community relations fund had 60,000 of fund balance. And again, all that can be found in more detail on those back pages. Moving to the next page, these are the remaining two funds of the city, your stormwater utility and your sewer utility. These are found on page 11 of your audited statements. Just to quickly touch on these, the sewer utility added $5,163 to its net position. That compares to a $42,000 addition last year. Charges to customers were up roughly $70,000 over the previous year. However, investment income was down roughly $17,000. Expenses were also up within the utility by roughly $90,000. Again, the benefits and, salaries and benefits that are allocated that fund increased during the year. That fund had $1.45 million of net position. Keep in mind when we talk about both of these funds, net position is not fund balance. Fund balance is a very close representation to the cash you have on hand. Keep in mind that within the utilities, you have all your capital assets, so your infrastructure, less any related debt. So this is a very large number compared to what you would typically expect to see. Of that 1.4 million, 1.16 million is cash. Most of that, 985,000, is unrestricted cash. 175,000 is restricted for your equipment replacement, which is a requirement of that fund. And cash saw a positive increase in 2020 of $187,000. So from an operational standpoint, a positive end result. Stormwater, 314,000 of revenue, very consistent with the previous year. The stormwater expenses were up $100,000 over the previous year. Again, saw some increase in salaries and benefits, but most of the increase was within the contracted services area for some work that DF Tomasini had done during the year. So again, a more of a one-time type thing. So that fund saw a decrease in that position down to 1.85 million. That fund also saw a decrease in cash of roughly 174,000, and I believe, if I recall correctly, there was a rate increase already done, and that went into effect the second quarter of 2021. So hopefully we'll see that fund move in the positive direction. I will note in the stormwater utility, $933,000 of cash. All of that is unrestricted. On the last page, this is the other, a summary of the other document that we issue. That's the reporting and insights document. Again, just a couple items to note. This document is very consistent with what you've seen in the past. Its content is relatively similar. We continue to communicate the segregation of duties comment, also the fact that we prepare the financial statements and have some journal entries that we prepare as part of the audit process. Both of those, or all of those, are looked at as material weaknesses. Again, those are not unusual or uncommon for organizations such as the size of the city, but they are included in that report and are required to be communicated to those charged with governance. There's a section in there, two-way communication, very last 2 pages of that document solicits input for actually the 2021 audit. I encourage you all to take a look, and if you have any comments, please reach out. The other comments and recommendations, again, nothing new there. Reminder of the decentralized cash collection points, and also the gap reporting, netting of income of revenue and expense accounts. Other communications included in there. The only other item I would note, there will be a new governmental accounting standard effective for the city for 2022. That will be a standard that affects how the city accounts for leases on its in its audited statements, and we will work with management to make sure the city is ready for compliance with that. Last item to note is on pages 15 through 18 of that document is our required communication. There are certain communications we need to have with you, those charged with governance. It is included on those pages, but again, very similar to the past and nothing new or unordinary that would be noteworthy in that section. Those are my prepared notes. I'm happy to answer any questions that any of you may have. Again, if you'd like to talk in more detail, I'm happy to do so. Please reach out. Again, Ann or Mark have my contact information. But again, happy to answer any questions you might have now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully you don't hit traffic on the way home, Wendy.
Hopefully no traffic on the way home.
Brewers are still playing. They're early in the game.
Citizens' comments?
None.
None. Consent agenda.
Did, we have this slip up here. Were you looking to sign it? Okay. I'm sorry.
Don't encourage him.
Okay, I'll stop being nice now.
Company manners.
Consent agenda, is there anyone that'd like anything removed from it?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as listed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh,
All opposed? Ayes have it. Recommendation of action from committees, commissions, and boards. Action to be taken from the Planning Commission meeting held August 25th, 2021. Hidden Ponds Detailed PUD.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to concur with the planning commission recommendation to approve the detailed PUD contingent upon outstanding items being approved by staff and schedule the public hearing.
Second.
So if I may, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely.
This is the recommendation from the Planning Commission. We don't yet have the zoning in place or the development agreement, and so those would be prerequisites to this. That being the case, my recommendation that the appropriate action for the council this evening would be to receive the Planning Commission's recommendation in this regard, and then take up action on this matter after we have the public hearing. I will note also that the developer's attorney, Attorney Nancy Haggerty, is present in the audience this evening if there's any questions from any member of the council.
I will amend my motion to.
I will amend my second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All opposed? Ayes have it. Resolutions and ordinances. Resolution to accept and file the 2020 financial statements as presented by Baker Tilly LLP.
Motion to introduce and adopt.
I'll second.
Do we need to accept and file rather than introduce and adopt?
Well, it would be, because it's a resolution, you introduce and adopt the resolution, which is to accept and file the audit.
So good with the introduce and adopt?
Yep.
All right.
Who's
And-
the second? John?
Alderman Fire.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution regarding non-represented employees' wages and salaries. Resolution clerk 2 and admin clerk wages.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to introduce and adopt.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Resolution authorizing execution of the Department of Natural Resources Principal Forgiven Financial Assistant Agreement.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to introduce and adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Final resolution authorizing asphalt pavement, concrete curb and gutter, and related work South Kirkwood Avenue from East Lunham Avenue to Milton Vretner Memorial Park entrance.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to introduce and adopt on that one, or just?
Yep.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Final resolution authorizing all asphalt pavement, concrete curb and gutter, and related work South Kirkwood Avenue from East Tesh Avenue to East Martin Lane.
I'll make a motion to introduce and adopt.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Discussion items with possible action. Trick or treat October 31st, 2021 from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that would be a Sunday and no Packer game.
I'll make a motion to have trick or treat, or is that what we're looking for? From, okay, October 31st from 5 to 7 p.m.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Block party, street closing, 3219 East Canning Avenue, September 18th, 2021 for a block party.
Pretty unruly crowd, huh, Chief?
So So is this signed off on by,
Yeah, Melinda had signed it off. The chiefs were both out of the office. So,
I'll make a motion to approve the Block Party Street closing for 3219.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Appointments to committees, commissions, and boards. None. Correspondence with possible action or referral to committees, commissions, and boards. Correspondence dated September 2nd, 2021, from the city engineer, Wisconsin DNR Financial Assistant Agreement for Private Side Lead Service Lateral Replacement Program.
the city has been awarded another allocation of funding to continue the private side lead service lateral replacement program. The allocation for 2022 is $50,000. The city to date has facilitated the replacement of approximately 90 private side lead service laterals. This allocation would allow for 10 replacements in 2022. I therefore recommend the approval of the agreement and authorization of appropriate city officials to sign the agreement.
I'll make a motion to receive and accept the letter and have city officials allocate appropriately.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Unfinished business? None. Other business? None. Department heads, Melinda?
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you to the Common Council for executing the agreement so that we can do some more lead service lateral replacements. It's been a successful program, and this just continues on offering this to our residents that come in. So thank you. And while we're thanking people, I'd like to thank the St. Francis Days Committee and the Civic Association for the great work that they did up at the days. Police, fire, everybody pitched in, and while it was small, I think it was good that we all got together and felt a little normal for a change, so that was very nice. The road project that's over in the 2nd District, it is slow to start, but we expect it to pick up here. The couple weeks we had those big storms that came through, and that kind of messed up the contractor's schedule. So, but they should be starting removals this week, and we should really start to see a lot of chaos over there shortly. We are still on target, though, to be completed by the end of October. So we're still moving forward with that. And then lastly, while we are finishing up some of our summer tasks, because grass still won't quit growing, we're going to start looking at leaf collection moving forward. We always start that towards the end of September. We'll put out an official date in the next week or so, get that out on the website, get that on Facebook. And with that, I pass.
Thank you. Chief Poplar?
Very brief tonight. Finishing up hose testing if you see them out there, and as we have Halloween, we have trick or treat on the schedule, and so we're also preparing for October for a fire prevention month. And with that, I pass.
Thank you. Chief Hunter?
It's got to be whatever's in his drink. Just saying, it looks really tasty.
I'm runner.
Just have 2 officer updates. Officer Dakota Platt will have completed 1 year of probation tomorrow, September 8th. He'll no longer be on probation, be an official member of the union. And Officer Anthony Garcia will also have completed his probationary period as of September 24th, 2021. So congratulations to those 2 officers. They're working out excellent. And we will soon begin the process of creating a hiring process for candidates, as we are expecting 3 losses of officers between now and August of 2022. We've had no grievances or officer injuries to report, and Detective Holly McManus is expecting her 2nd child in mid to late January of this year, a little baby boy. Squad 7 will be the one that's out in the parking lot. The tan the tan Charger will be sold via Wisconsin Surplus finally. We had to wait for some parts to get to us. They were at the garage, and we were trying to get the center console put back into that, and that's now put back in. That'll go on Wisconsin surplus by Thursday. That was already approved by the council. And the last squad we got 12,000 for, so I'm hoping for anywhere between 10 and 12 for that as well. St. Francis Days was fairly quiet from a police side. We only had 2 incidents to report, nothing major. And as you've all have heard and seen on the news, we've had 4 MATE responses. MATE is the Milwaukee Area Investigative Team, where our 2 detectives, lieutenant, have responded to officer-involved shootings. One was MPD on August 16th, the day before our last meeting, on 27th and Wright. The second one was Greenfield PD on the 22nd of August, on 27th and Beecher. The third was Milwaukee PD on the 26th of August, on 41st and Hadley. And the last was Oak Creek MCSO and Franklin Police Department on 9/3, on 26th and Sycamore in the city of Franklin. So it's been extremely busy. This is not usual. This is not something that is on par. It's very unusual, as a matter of fact, very taxing on all the investigators. And I just want to thank them all for their time and thank the public for their response to this point. That's all I have.
Thanks, Chief. Ann?
Our new clerk 2 position started today and is getting acclimated to our business practices here. We are also getting ready to do our 3rd quarter sewer billing, and then all of a sudden it's going to be tax season. Oh, joy. And starting October 4th, I will be out, I'm hoping, only for 2 weeks on medical leave.
Good luck.
Yeah, and with that, I pass.
Thank you. Paul?
I think you have nothing this evening, Mayor.
Thank you, Mark.
I'll reserve my comments for closed session.
Thank you. Debbie?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Sarah?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
John?
I'll try to be brief. I want to recognize our department heads here, Melinda, Ann, Mark, their spouses. They spend a tremendous amount of time at St. Francis Days. I got a little flack at home because I spent about 11 or 12 hours there, and I said it pales in comparison to what these guys do. They're there Wednesday night, Thursday, all day Friday, all day Saturday, Sunday. St. Francis Days wouldn't happen without that effort. Rick again posted on Facebook Live so the community could see what was happening down there. Sunday was a much better event. We weren't competing with Summerfest, and metal men tend to draw in quite a crowd. So it wound up being a pretty decent day Sunday, and again, I commend all of you for the hours you put in there, and it is fun working with you too, outside of this venue. A little more lighthearted and free, so thank you, and on that I'll pass.
Thank you. Matt?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, didn't get to wish everybody happy Labor Day beforehand, but happy belated Labor Day. And yeah, special thanks to everybody who is involved with St. Francis Days. I wasn't able to attend myself, but I've heard it was a great success. And that's all I have tonight.
Thank you. Steve?
Pass this evening.
Thank you. I'd also like to say kudos for everyone that was involved, from the DPW to our police to the 2 committees that ran St. Francis Days. It was a home run. Thank you, everyone that spent their time there helping out. And I'd like to single out 2 aldermen, Sarah and Steve, for their generous donation for St. Francis Days. Thank you. And with that, I pass.
Good announcement of the closed session.
They're going to convene into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Statute Section 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Item for discussion, TID 4, so I'd need a motion to that effect.
I will make a motion to roll call vote for closed session.
Second.
Okay. Alderman Calderon,
Yes.
Alderwoman Fliss,
Aye.
Alderman Damon,
Aye.
Alderman Waddawah,
Aye.
and